everyone, I'm Kelly, and today I'm here to talk to everyone about wages in your own life going forward and in the lives of others. Are you afraid of entering the real world? Are you scared about making a real living? Do you think it's possible today? It's time that you need to think about providing for yourself, and it's time to take a stand in our society. Because in our society, first of all, we come out of college already at a disadvantage because we're in so much debt. So it's time to take a stand on tuition. Second, it's time to look to our employers to give us a living wage and to give us the benefits that we deserve along with that wage. Finally, it's important that we reach out to our government. Our government sets the minimum wage, and we need to reach out to them in order to make a difference going forward. It's time to start fighting now while all of you are still in college, and it's time to fight for your tuition rights first. So when students are in college, they incur a large amount of debt, as I'm sure a lot of people know. Of course, it depends what institution you're at, but there's some institutions that are up to $70,000 a year where students come out with just piles and piles of debt that are almost impossible to pay off. Sajay Samuel presented a really beautiful idea in a TED Talk, presenting an idea where wages, future wages, or tuition costs could match up to a student's degree. He thinks that because our future projections depend on what we major in college in, maybe it would be a good idea to link our college tuition costs to our major. For example, finance majors make almost 3 times the amount than liberal arts students do. Hence, what if we discounted the present value of each discipline of study back to the present value of our tuition costs? Perhaps we could create a very fair environment going forward. Now, I know a lot of people out there will say, well, that's not fair. That doesn't make any sense, because why should one student have to pay less and another student get to pay a lot more? Well, perhaps students would start to enter into a major that they really enjoy, and people might be happier in the future. A lot of students today simply enter into a major because they know that certain majors will make more money than others. A lot of people also say, well, how would you manage that kind of diverse tuition? Well, we seem to be managing diverse wages in the workplace, so I think going forward, we can look to implement different strategies in the future. Another area to tackle regarding student debt is reaching out to companies. A lot of students are hired by their companies for internships. So why can't these companies who know they're going to hire their students in the future subsidize part of their tuition? In fact, many companies, for example, Duff & Phelps and Siemens, have their own personal university for recently college graduates. They feel that their college graduates are not getting the technical education that they need for those particular areas of business. So what if a company could sponsor a college student's tuition who is going to be their future employer? Those wages in the first few years could balance out, and that college student would not have to come out of college with so much debt that they can barely handle it. After fighting for a right to be out of debt, continue to fight in the workforce. As we learned in my informative speech, the current American is completely overworked, and wages do not match up with that overworked. Many Americans live paycheck to paycheck without benefits. For example, the United States is one of the only countries in the world that do not give out paid maternity leave. Countries such as France give out plenty of weeks of paid maternity leave along with child care benefits. Our mothers in our society are completely overworked, sometimes working 2 jobs, not getting to spend time with their children. All of these can be detrimental factors in a child's life and in the worker's life. Hence, it's time to reach out to our employers to fight for either these living wages or benefits that go along with those wages, because as of now, the future of our economy cannot be given to the big businesses because they're only the top 1%. And I know a lot of people may counter this argument saying about France having, a lot of benefits, saying that taxes are higher in Europe. However, if taxes were higher here and we were able to give out those benefits, I think it would be a greater benefit to the greater good of the people. We are not only needing to fight on a micro scale, but we also need to fight on a macro scale, and that is to reach out to our government. Demand a minimum wage raise. We need at least $50,000 a year in order to have a sustainable living. And many people make under $30 a year living minimum wage. Bernie Sanders, back in the 2016 election, wanted to raise the minimum wage to $15. There are politicians out there that are listening to us and hear what we want. It's time that we reach out to our local governments, our big governments, whoever we can reach out to, and fight to make a difference. Of course, there are many ways we can reach out. There's anything we can do. We can protest tuition, we can talk to employers, we can reach out to the government. But ultimately, our current living wages cannot sustain a financially secure future. It's time for them to keep up with the current times. We must fight. Thank you, everybody, and fight for your tuition.